While the UK supplies over 70% of domestic demands for meat, dairy products and eggs, its self-sufficiency ratio for fruit and vegetables were only 12% and 58%.
I've tried a vegan diet, so I avoid butter, so I eat more oils, seeds, nuts. A lot of vegan food recipes have avocado in them. So these are things that have usually travelled quite a long way. So transport carbon footprint will be high. But when you're looking at the carbon footprint of food, you need to look at the carbon footprint of the production, so the growing of the crops or the feeding of the animals, harvesting, processing, packaging and transportation.
But it is conceivable that you can have meat that is shipped by boat under cold transport that actually has a relatively small carbon footprint in transport. Air shipment, of course, would be much, much more.
There's another option, which is just reducing your meat consumption. So I'd say vegetables generally have a much lower carbon footprint.
In the end, you do need a lot of biomass, wherever it's sourced, to produce a kilogram of beef because the feed conversion rates are quite low. With chicken, it's more efficient. Aquaculture and other forms of protein, there can be higher efficiency.
If you look up the life cycle of food as a whole, greenhouse gas emissions from production phase contributes to 83% of footprint for food consumption, while transportation represents only 11%. Therefore, how food is produced may matter more than how long it's travelled.
Locality is an issue, but I think not nearly as much as the production system and the footprint of production itself. One may look at in terms of energy efficiency, factory farm or sort of industrially produced chicken are some of the most efficient. That's not a comfortable argument for people who are concerned with sustainability, who often are able to pay more for meat and have a nice expensive free-range chicken. But that free-range chicken may actually have a bigger carbon footprint, a cheaper one from the factory farm. Just only at, say, environmental efficiency, we may come up with answers that have some dilemmas. Interesting trade-off.
So eating locally has other benefits, supporting the local economy, but there's disadvantages as well, because developing countries, for example, that are producing export crops, if you stop eating their export crops, you may be putting people out of a livelihood. So it's quite complex.
The choices of sustainable diet, could be more subtle than that and not just be about you're either a vegan or you're totally unsustainable.
It is actually really difficult for people to make these choices.